Hi, I'm Dave Crane. Welcome to Speak on Stage. Welcome back to Speak on Stage because I've not been around for a little while. You might not have seen me for about a day because I had a day off. And I enjoyed it. Thank you very much for asking. And I know you missed me because you clearly sent me lots of messages saying, Dave, where are you? Not one message for anybody saying, Dave, we're missing you. In fact, you probably didn't even know I did the show in the first place, did you? Well, I'm here again. Today's show was born out of the fact that a couple of days ago in one of my speaker groups, a friend of mine here has turned around and said, Happy Men's Day. And it's International Men's Day. And I went, really? Is it? I didn't know it was International Men's Day. So I made some comments, which is, it's great to be a guy and all the rest of it. And then I thought about it. I thought, no, it's not great to be a guy because we actually get really bad press. Now, I'm going to talk about something that's really controversial today, and I think I will find it upsetting. I think you may find it unsettling, but ultimately very rewarding. And if you're male, then I'm probably going to go much deeper than you probably expect myself to. If you're female, I think you'll find it rewarding. You'll find reflections of yourself in what I'm going to be talking about. And maybe I hope that things are going to get better. And the constant cat and dog fight between men and women, which is part of the dance of our relationships, and it goes back through history, and it will continue into the future as well. Let me show you this picture again from the very beginning of the show. See that? Okay, that was me involved in a thing called the Mr. Switzerland competition. Now, if you're from Germany or you're from Switzerland or from that part of Europe, then you'll know the TV show very well. It's like a Miss World campaign, but it's for guys. So you got these incredibly good-looking guys, and every single one of them has to go for a number of different aspects of what they are, what they do, and so on, against each other, till they get whittled down to one day be given the job of being told, well done, you're the Mr. Man or Mr. Switzerland for this year. And they came to Dubai, and as you can see, all these really good-looking young hunks, fitness experts, models, army, I don't know, coaches, all sorts of guys are there. And my job was to do the TV coverage and host it for what was going on in Dubai, and also do some coaching sessions with them while I was here. And it went really well. They're really nice guys, but can you see who's the odd one out? Can you see who looks like he shouldn't really be part of that gang? Yes, moi! And it made me think a lot about stuff, not least the fact that this is the impression. Okay, Switzerland's predominantly a very white country, and this is not white or black. I promise you, today's show has nothing to do with that. But these are the short list of what people perceive to be the very best of a man, right? So let me show you this again, just so you can get where I'm coming from. There's little fat black guy, Dave, whose jeans are turned up because they don't quite fit him properly, and he doesn't want to end up cutting them off so they go all frayed and nasty. And you've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You've got 12 hunks who look like they should be on the front cover of a Squire magazine, and probably they have been since then. So how bizarre is it that of all the guys and all the ideal view of what a man should be, it's little fat black bloke who's in charge of hosting the show, and it's me who's giving them advice about how to be successful in life and be happy in life. And I wouldn't be the person selected to be the ideal man. Does that have a kind of weird irony to you as well? And it made me think about it because when you talk about, World International Men's Day, you're also talking about what people consider a man should be. And a man should be tough and rough and, able to walk through fire and not even blink an eyelid. And when his wife or his girlfriend or his partner turns around and says, I'm feeling bad, he goes, don't worry, I'll take care of everything. And that's kind of the image that we've had for many, many years, but it doesn't work anymore. Doesn't. I'm going to explain why in a few moments' time, but today's show is about how to be a better man. It's a better version of what a man should be. And I don't know all the answers. Anybody's going to turn around and say, Dave, what do you know about it? You're absolutely right. I don't know all that much about it. What I do know is from my experience of working with various experts over the years, people like Dr. John Gray, who wrote Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, and Alan Pease. I've got a fly in here. Get off. Sorry, I shouldn't kill a fly, but if it goes up my nose on live TV, that would be very bad. I didn't get it. Alan Pease, who wrote Why Men Don't Listen and Women Can't Read Maps, it's a blooming mosquito. Can I get permission from you to kill a mosquito if it comes near me in this studio again? Don't know how it got in, air conditioning. I'm trying to be serious, and I'm being attacked by a mosquito, and I'm not happy about it. I know what's going to happen. I'll get bitten to death later on, and you'll just laugh. Tomorrow I'll have like all these little dots on my head where I ignored it to try and look like a proper person. Or I get loads of complaints from the wildlife fund saying, Dave, you should not be killing animals on your show. It was a mosquito. It's not an animal. It's an insect. And I'm more scared of it than it is of me. Okay? Let's get that clear. All right, going back. So the idea is that working with these guys and many other coaches and learning the idea about men and women and so on. And thanks to Gotham, by the way, from Right Selection for introducing me to these guys when we came to town. Oh, you see it? See Mozzie? Anyway. And it was really fascinating to talk to them about the real truths behind men and women. And I'm not going to spend too long on this show talking about it right now. Ha! Didn't get it. Talk about it too much, but I do want to do it in context with how to be a better man. Now, I'm going to talk to you about how to be sensitive, how to understand what's going on inside a man's head, and for a man to understand what's going on inside his head as well, because we're in a lockdown, we're in a coronavirus, we're in a pandemic. We're in a really challenging time, but for many people, we weren't ready for what's happening right now. And I'd love to have your thoughts, by the way. We're going live onto Twitter, onto Twitch, onto Facebook, onto YouTube, onto Periscope, and something else which I can't remember. But LinkedIn, right. I love your comments, your thoughts. Tell me where you are. Tell me your thoughts as well as we go along. Now, here's the thing. Talking to Dr. John Gray, he was talking about the fact that he had a group of women that had been coaching. Predominantly, he works with women, but he also works with men, but mainly with women, to teach them about how to feel stronger in this kind of man-dominated world. And a lot of them turned around to him. A group turned around and said, "Could you do us a favor? Could you work on my husband? Because he's a caveman. He really is a nightmare. Everything I say to him, he's not interested. He goes, yeah, whatever. He's got no sensitivity, doesn't understand me. He's got no emotional intelligence, nothing." So he said, yeah, I'll do a course specifically for men. So he did a course, and all the husbands begrudgingly came in and were part of it. And then he met with the women's group about 2 months later. And you won't believe what they said to him. They said, could you please change him back? He keeps crying all the time. He keeps asking about my feelings, and he doesn't feel like a real man anymore. I don't find him attractive. To be honest with you, I wish I'd never ever wanted him to be more sensitive. Interesting, isn't it? Now here's why I want to preface today's show with that knowledge. Perfectly true, you can talk to Dr. John Gray and he'll tell you all about it anyway. It's because men are in a real mess at the moment. And I'm speaking for myself. I'm sure I'm speaking for many other people. I'm sure there's lots in denial. Go, oh, no. Real man, real muscles, don't need any. But here's the thing. We don't know where we're meant to be. And at another show, I will talk about dating. And that's a whole big kettle of fish about men and women. But I just want to talk about men today. Here's the thing. If you become the friend to a woman that you find attractive, she will put you in a friend zone and you'll never ever get out of it again. She will not ruin the relationship she has of you doing everything for her, like one of her friends, but a guy version of one of her friends, to sleep with you. And I did say the sleeping term. So if you think you're going to turn her into somebody who turns around and says, you know what? You've done enough hard work as my friend. I'm going to jump over on top of you. And now that's it. We've got a great relationship. That's not going to happen. It doesn't come back from the friend zone. And this is a massive problem for men. And the problem for men is just, I'm actually going to dump that part of what I'm talking about for the rest of today's show. I just want to say, and I don't know the answers, there's a thin line between being an attractive caveman guy and being a sensitive, we all love you, but nobody wants to jump on your bones type guy. And I studied dating at some point when I was single, long time ago, and I studied what the dating gurus were saying and all the NLP, speed seduction stuff, Ross Jeffries and Mystery and all these guys, and David D'Angelo as well. And what they were saying was women are attracted to men who act like they're horrible, to be honest with you. That macho, I don't care about you, whatever, get off me, that's your problem thing. We might turn around and say that's the worst type of guy on the planet, but here's the thing that's really strange about it. Women are attracted to the idea that men's genetics and their makeup would make their children survive better in the wild. This is going back to caveman days. So therefore, if you're rich, if you're good looking, if you're powerful, if you've got money, all these things, sense of humor, all these things that means that your kids, if they inherit it, would naturally be better survivors and leaders in the environment of the wildlife or in business or whatever it is that you're going to be. Not that you're a nice guy. I'm not saying you should be a thug, but what I'm just saying is the genetics of what makes it happen. So for instance, I'll just give you a little example about this, and that's not what today's show is all about. Let me give you an example. Supposing somebody keeps going out with all these kind of bad boys, motorbikes, cigarettes, get in fights all the time, and you're saying, why do you keep loving these guys? They're toxic for you. They're bad for you. And she can't help it. Why? Because her genetics tells her that that's the type of guy that can look after himself. And her offspring might be in trouble, but they can look after themselves and they'll survive longer. And this is a subconscious thing. When you talk about it out in the open like I'm doing now, it makes no sense, but it really does make sense. Nice guys finish second. So let's get this out of the way, because I think it's very important to be able to get that worked out so we can move forward with today's show. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. I really would, because as a guy, especially a guy in lockdown, looking after my family, I find good days, bad days. I found myself being weaker and stronger than I've ever had to be before. And it's difficult. And I'm sure it is for you. That's today's show. That's the subject of today's show. Get yourself a coffee and let's go even deeper on that. So welcome back to today's show. It's Speak on Stage, and I've got my cup with a hiccup on it and toothless. So I'm a real man because I like how to train your dragon cups. Today's show, if you just joined us by the way, is all about this. It's all about how to be a better man. And that was me with a ton of Mr. Switzerland entries, and they all did very well on over there. You can see how good looking they were compared to yours truly. However, I was still coaching them and still showing them how to be more successful and so on. So that's not what today's show is all about. Today's show is really all about what the criteria is for being a better man. If it's World Men's Day, have we worked out what the formula is? Or is there a different formula for different people? Or does that fit into different countries or different stereotypes? And is it reflective in different women? And hold on, let me just say one thing. I say women. I'm not saying that gay is wrong at all. Please forgive me. I have no issue with anyone's gender, anyone's sexual preference, or any of that stuff. I was just thinking like that as I was speaking. So I'm sure that if you're a gay man, you've got your own experience of this, or gay women as well. That would be a great contributor to this particular conversation. You don't have to comment on this if you don't want to. All I'm saying is the caveat that I will only speak from my own experience. Okay, so that's all I mean. I don't mean that only men and women are the only way forward. Okay, so let's start off by analyzing what women really want. We're going to have a look at some videos. We're going to look at what the stars say that they want from life. And also we're going to go deep down into what Dwayne Johnson went through with incredible depression, anxiety, and loneliness. Considering he's one of the most famous people on the planet that everybody loves, and everybody wants to see his movies because he's so cool, you wouldn't think that he would go through so many challenges, but he has. And he talks about it later on in today's show. So let's find out now what women want on Speak on Stage.
What do women want in a man? The best way for me to answer this question is to use an analogy of a car. You see, what the car looks like matters to a degree. The condition that it's in, how fashionable it is, how expensive it is, all of these are factors. Just like how the way you dress, your personal hygiene, and your physique are important factors that women like in men. However, the most important thing to a woman is not the car itself. Because if you have a nice car and it just sits in the garage all day, it's nowhere nearly as exciting as an average car that travels to many different places. The excitement, which is the most appealing factor, lies in the journey that you take her on in your car. That's why you'll see tons of men out there who are good looking, who have decent amounts of money. They have a nice car, but they find that very few women stay interested in them. And they wonder, why? I have everything a woman could want. Why do they keep leaving me? Well, it's because although they do have a nice car, they're not doing anything with it. What women really want is to experience a ride. This means having a destination. This means having a goal that you are constantly pursuing, constantly driving towards. Because no woman wants to sit in a nice car and ask, hey, what's your goal? Where are we going? And here, well, I don't really have a goal, so we can just park here and admire this car. And oftentimes, guys will make the mistake of making women their destination in life. They try so hard to get girls to like them. They dedicate more time and effort to doing this than they do towards improving their own lives. So when they finally do convince a girl to sit in their car, they find that she'll leave rather quickly. The relationship doesn't go well, she breaks up with you, or she mentions divorce. Because once she realizes that your car isn't going anywhere, that your destination in life turned out to be her, she will lose all interest. This is why it's so important to have some sort of destination, some sort of dream. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be about saving the world's population of turtles, or it could be about inspiring others with your banjo music. It really doesn't matter what it is. As long as you believe in it, and as long as you're constantly chasing after it, that's what's important. That's why you'll see people like starving rock band members or broke hippies having tons of beautiful women in their lives because they have an extremely vivid dream that they are constantly pursuing. The musician may never become a famous rock star and the hippie may never change the government's policies, but they don't stop believing. No matter what, they're still driving towards their destination at top speeds. And it's this passionate pursuit of one's dreams that's irresistible to women. It's exciting. It's like watching a movie unravel in real life. And honestly, this is something that's universally attractive, not just for women. So focus on yourself, discover what your destination is, and start pursuing it with a passion. Only then will you obtain the one thing that women want most.
So there we have it. A real different twist on what women are actually after. It's the dream, it's the goal, it's the energy, it's the direction of where you're going. Now, I'm sure that's true for many guys. You do have that and you're driving towards it and you're pushing it and you want to collect good stuff on the way. I just wanted to show that as a real twist on what people might think it should be. Because you think it's all about the trappings of what it is, but it's not. It's deep inside you. I'm not saying this is true for everybody either. I don't know. I can only talk about myself. I've been in a handful of relationships, some of them good, some of them absolutely terrible and painful. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. It makes you a kind of person, and I envy anybody who's been in the same relationship for 40 years, and I pity anybody who's been in the same relationship for 40 years at the same time. Mine is not to judge. But I do think that what you are doing with men and the way we're moving forward and who we are is more accessible. This is November or Movember. And Movember means that for many men, for mental health, for prostate cancer, for growing a mustache, I don't have it, I've got a beard built in anyway, because it's all about the awareness that men should get themselves checked, and also men should feel that if there is something that hurts, then you should be capable of going forward and telling somebody all about it. Now, if you're interested in knowing more about why I do this show, it's about creating industry icons, people that are capable of standing up and saying what they need to say and being seen as an expert in their industry, whether it's creating your own TV show or whether it's doing a podcast or whether it's doing your branding better and branding yourself so you're seen as a real expert in who you are and what you do and a high achiever. We'll be talking to you later on about a survey you can do to see how well you are doing this. Men or women. It's called the industry icon thing, and you go to basically industry icon program, and if you go to SpeakOnstage.com, you'll find out all about it. But I'm going to stick on subject with this because I don't want to lose the focus of what we're talking about, which is ultimately we're going to share some videos about what makes a man a better man.
I was pretending to be somebody that I wasn't, and I was hiding.
I wanted to get a reputation, I wanted to get respect.
Another big tragedy about being a male is the secrets.
I really thought I'd never recover. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna kill myself. Being like a student one day to like this psychiatric patient the next, I just couldn't come to terms with it, and I was so embarrassed. I ran away from the hospital and I went to a bridge. The level of shame and embarrassment when I told my dad how I was really feeling. And the worst thing is, you know, I still struggle to talk about it. I still find it really difficult.
I was, you know, physically attacked because somebody found out I was gay and they decided that they didn't like that. 3 of the boys kind of held me back, held my arms behind my back, while the other one hit me repeatedly. He was wearing a ring on his finger, and that just completely ruined all my teeth and burst through my lower lip. And I remember they were just saying things like faggot and puff. I want to be accepted and I want to be me, and then other people come out and say, you can't be that, you're not allowed to be that.
I was at a party, there was a row that went off, then a guy approached me, then he hit me in my face. I hit him back, like my reputation in it. Pulls out his knife and he flicks it up.
You know when you watch films and you see like people just bleeding to death, like.
He stabbed me, then I just see blood. My mum would always ask me, like, she'll be like, Paul, are you all right? Even my friends at college, they were like, oh, why you got bags? Like, I'm just like, yeah, man, sleeping a bit late, innit? Like, I'm just on the phone and that. But really and truly, I was stressed, like, I couldn't sleep, just getting flashbacks.
At 8, my father put his hand on my shoulder at the airport and said, you're in charge of your family, you take care of your mother and brother now. And I may not see you again. That duty, that responsibility, that owned me for a lot of my life. The fear of feeling anything is, if I start crying, I may never stop. I might just cry and cry.
We talk about football, we don't ever talk about anything deep.
Deal with it alone.
The strong ones, that's what the world expects.
Be a lad.
My dirty little secret.
Be a man. Stop being such a girl.
Man up.
Man up. Man up.
So there we are, a bit of an eye-opener already talking about it, and I can say from my own experience, it's been, I mean, in my relationships I've had, I'm married to a beautiful Aziza, we have challenges, same as everybody else, and we have big arguments. Been together for almost 15 years now, good, bad, and everything, I love to bits. But I've had relationships where, like everybody, I've had people cheating on me. I've had one woman who was so nuts that she grabbed a whole chip pan full of hot fat and threw it at me. I've had all sorts of crazy stuff going on, same as everybody else. Now, here's where the big problem is. We don't know how to deal with it. We're not ready to deal with it. We're not focused on how we can deal with it. Guys haven't got things built in that deal with it. Let me explain a bit more. If you look at, take us back to cavemen days. That's probably the easiest way to do it. The difference between men and women. Men were going out hunting in the pack in silence with a spear, and you'd know exactly what you were doing, and you'd go out together, and that was it. Women would be doing a different thing. They'd be at home, or they'd be going out gathering berries and chatting, looking after the kids and doing all this. I'm not being sexist. I'm just saying the way it was set up before. Men would go out hunting, women would look after the home. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do now or any of that. I'm just saying it was set up. Now, what would happen is the guys would go in silence, and if they caught what they needed to catch and bring it back, they had a great time. Now, what would also happen is the women would go out and they'd chat. And they'd just chat and share ideas and laugh and gather stuff. Now, this, at a very simple level, is shopping. Guys hate shopping. We go out, we get what we need, we go back done. Yeah, I've got shoes. Do they fit your suit? No, they fit my feet. Do they get the same colour as you need for your suit? I don't know, but I'm not bothered. It's the suit. Whereas with women, it'd be a different thing. Chatting, enjoying the whole process of being together, with gossiping and enjoying each other's company. We enjoy each other's company in silence. My wife turns around to me and says, "You went out with the guys last night?" Yeah, how was it? Fantastic. Did they talk about anything? No, we just watched the football. But what do you mean? They talk about their wives? No, nothing. Well, there's any problems? Well, I don't think so. They would have mentioned it if it was a problem. So what about the guy's wife? Is she better now? I don't know. Didn't ask. That's a great night out for a guy. But for women, it's different. They need to have these conversations. And that's because different parts of their brains light up with different parts of what's going on. Guys don't have the same wiring. We have a completely different way of dealing with it. And that means when it comes to these conversations, we have no clue about how to deal with it. We really don't. The idea of being more sensitive and dealing with a world that's more open and shares more ideas and has more hardship than many of our generation have ever dealt with before. And we have had this before. You know, the Great Depression, I'm sure, is a lot worse than the pandemic we're dealing with right now, because we've got internet, we've got TV, and we've got the platforms, social media platforms for chatting to you as I am right now. But what I'm saying is we're very lucky in that we've got the ability to communicate, but also this can also be like a cage around us that makes it very difficult to understand how to communicate more effectively with people again. So I'm going to go on to how deep is this problem. I want to share with you my view on what this really means. Ultimately, there's a couple of things I want to share with you. First of all, as I've shown you that picture, that's Mr. Switzerland, and see if you can work out which one's me. But I want to take a big deep dive in two sections of today's show. First section is how to be a better man with the outer game that's being played. How to be the Superman. How to get everyone to turn around and say, "Yeah, man, you're fantastic. Everybody loves you. You're excellent." And it's a certain game that we play, and it's a game that we play in public, and it's what's perceived in the movies most of the time. If you watch a movie where guys are just crying all the time, you say, "Right, get me out of here. I've got no interest in this." You want to see action. You want to see superheroes. You want to see something different. But I think the world is changing significantly. I'll tell you why I think it's changing. If you look at something as simple as the coronavirus has meant that the military has been downgraded as the most effective army on the planet. It's the health service that's kept us all alive. That's very different. That's a nurturing, that's caring, that's diagnosing, and that's prevention. It's not going out and taking out. There's no vaccine and the world surviving. Why? Because people jumped in and stemmed, and scientists came up with ways of stopping it. So here's the view that we have to be more successful on the outside. Number one, love yourself more mentally, physically, and spiritually. It's not a complete diagnosis, but these are a couple of things that you might find useful. Number two is this: be ambitious in your own way. It doesn't have to be the same as everybody else. Some people might like what you do, some people might hate what you do, but the truth is, when we looked at the thing that your partner will find attractive, is the fact that you're driven by something and you can all buy into that together. And it takes you on a roadmap as well. Number 3, don't crumble under pressure. Stiff upper lip, keep it in there. Make sure that as people are concerned, you're still the person that they can rely on at all times. You'll be there for them. You'll share ideas. You'll find a way forward regardless of anything. And I know as a dad, and in many ways as a husband, that's my job to have to do that. Though sometimes I fall to bits, and then I have to find myself again because I'm not allowed really to stay in bits. Number 4, be a man of your word. Now, this is very important. I don't lie ever. I really don't. I'll tell jokes, but I don't lie. The reason I don't lie is because I can't keep tabs of lies. They say you need 15 lies for every lie that you tell, and then another 15 for each one of those. And to be honest with you, I could never tell that many lies to compensate for the lie. It's easier to tell the truth and say, you know what, I'm a bit rubbish, I don't really remember, but that's what I think it is, and I reserve the right to change it in the future if I think it's something else then. Number 5, control anger and jealousy. I agree with that. Jealousy, definitely something you should look after. And anger is hard to internalize. And we could spend a lot of time talking about emotional intelligence. In a future session, we will talk about emotional intelligence. If I get upset with somebody, and I get terrible treatment, for instance, in a restaurant or a bar or someplace like that, and I'll call the manager over, and I won't get angry, I won't lose my rag, I'll just turn around and I'll take control of exactly what's happened. I'll say to them, look, here's the deal. I've been treated badly by your staff. I'm going to tell you exactly why I'm upset and why your customers won't come back. So maybe you can fix it. I just want to know if you want to know what the problem is. And usually you can get an answer for it. I got angry the other day with a bank. Not a bank, somebody on the phone telling me to get access to some account. I had to give this, I had to send this in, I had to fill that form in. I had about 10 things I had to do, so I did all that, and it didn't work. They said, oh no, you've signed the wrong bit. Can you do all this again? And I lost it. I turned around and said, enough. I'm sick. Look, I've spent 2 hours now talking to your stupid bank. I'm the customer. It's my money. You're looking after my account. So the lady on the other side, she stepped up. She was saying, yeah, well, but I went, stop, hold it. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry for losing my temper. This isn't your fault. You just work for a bank that's got bad policies. You are trying the very best you can to help me, and I appreciate that. I'm so sorry for losing my rag with you. And she said, thank you. And it made a big difference. And then she checked on everything. She rang me back and said, have you filled it in? Don't worry, I'll take care of that. And it was the most amazing relationship. I just want to say, yeah, thank you. If they're listening, I can't say which bank you belong to. Starts with the M. I can't say any more than that. All right, then. Hold yourself accountable. You are to blame for everything in your life, so you might as well get used to that. And if you really want to make sure that you can change things, the buck has to start with one person and end in one person, and you are that person. Be blamed for everything in your life. If you don't blame yourself, you can't blame anybody else because they don't give a monkeys. It's you that has to. Number 7, give respect and expect it back. Don't expect it from everybody, otherwise you might end up seriously disappointed. I do respect everybody, but some people lose it very, very quickly just because I just find I haven't got time for the S and B, the other way around, that I would have to put up with. I don't play with many people. I have a lot of friends I talk to in business terms on Zoom, a handful of people in my inner world, and that is by design. I get very disappointed with people. I'm sure they don't think I'm great fun either. And I'm on a one-man journey with my family, and those who want to come along with me do. Like, for instance, doing this show. Some of you will watch it on a regular basis. Some will watch it once. Some will never watch it and just go, don't like that guy. Fine. I don't care. I'm doing this because it's important to me and hopefully for other people at the same time they get something out of it. Number 8, love others without judgment. This is very true. I really do buy into it. Just because somebody's different to you doesn't mean that they're invalid. I believe that everybody is equal, but just some people are better in their own skin at being themselves and being more benevolent than other people are. It doesn't matter whether you're rich or you're poor or you're black or you're white or which country you're born in or which religion you have. This is luck. As to what you do about it is the next choice, but maybe you'll never get to the top of where you want to be. An interesting conversation the other day where my wife was saying to somebody, could you imagine how successful Dave would be if he was blonde and blue-eyed? Could you imagine if he was more adaptable? Because it's very rare people turn around to somebody like me and say, right, we want Dave Crane. They look at their options for aesthetics. I'm a little short, fat guy with a beard and stubble and relatively thick glasses and grey hair. I might be brilliant at what I do. I might be the best at what I do, but it might not be what they want to put on a poster. I've had a lifetime of that. And you know what? Even when I was young and good looking, same thing. How much do I give a shit? Not one jot. I'm happiest being the best that I can in my skin, in my life. And you need to think about that as well. Okay, so loving people without judgment is important as well. Don't judge others, but sometimes people are idiots, and you just got to remember that and don't get too close because it might bite you with idiocy. Number 9, always be yourself. Everyone else is taken, as Oscar Wilde said. And for this section, number 10, be a good example for others. That's very important. All that stuff comes together, and I hope that you dwell on that and have it. That's what the outside world wants us to be like. But here's what the challenge is, and you may feel the same way. How can you do that when inside you feel like you're lost and you're lonely and you're depressed and you're anxious and you're scared? I've so many good friends, male and female, who've split up during the pandemic. In the coronavirus and lockdown, they got to find out who their partner was, or they had their partner turn around and say, I don't love you anymore, because they never really had to think about it, because they're so busy going out, meeting their friends, and going to work and doing stuff. But when they're stuck in the same place, they're going, wow, I'm stuck with you, you're not good enough. Real thing. So with that, I want you to be aware of the outer game, the BS game that the world is looking at, but it's just a real thing that people want you to be like this. Next up, on Speak on Stage, I want you to have a look and meet some celebrities, some well-known people who also have to come to terms with the idea that maybe we're a little bit more vulnerable than you would think. I love your thoughts. I love your comments. I love you to share and subscribe to this so you get more access to this stuff in the future. This is Speak on Stage.
Well, I think it's a good thing for anyone to talk about it, no matter what your station in life is. And, for me to talk about it, a lot of people might project this image onto me that I have it all, or I'm, but, that sort of thing, it doesn't discriminate, it gets anyone from any sort of walk of life. And it's, for me, it was just talking about it sort of destigmatizes it. Talking about it for me has helped in some ways, in this age of toxic masculinity, there's a lot of dudes out there that have a tendency to sort of bottle it up and keep it in and think that they've got to be a tough guy and soldier on, but that's not necessarily true.
Brianne Hill, hello.
I think anybody talking about it will help destigmatize it over time. But I think in particular celebrities or sports celebrities, if they have a platform and they've gone through any kind of issue with mental health, it's good for them to share their stories if they're comfortable with it, because not a lot of people are comfortable, and that's okay. I think, for me as a guy, I struggled a long time with not only my bouts of depression that I've had, but also things that have happened to me earlier on and when I was a teenager that colored me as an adult, but struggled a long time to just express myself. Because we as men, as dudes, just typically, we have this toxic masculinity sometimes where we want to hold on to feelings and emotions like I had done for many, many years. So, look, any opportunity I can to share an experience or share a little bit of insight that I've gained over the years when it comes to mental health and kind of battling things, I'm happy to share it. And if it helps out one person, it sounds very cliche, but I'm happy to do it.
The notion of being stigma-free, which is sort of, what many of us are willing to be, is a way to try and bring education to more people, since unfortunately in this country it seems that mental health is something that's reserved for people who can afford it and not people who need it. So I'm not looking to vomit my entire life onto the internet, but I do feel it's very appropriate, especially for so many young people who feel alone the way I felt alone, to talk about anxiety and obsessive compulsive disorder and panic disorder and depression and all the other things that many of us deal with, when we're teenagers and even when we're, adults.
So there you are. If you just joined us, welcome to Speak on Stage. My name's Dave Crane, sharing with you a number of different insights and ideas about how to be a better man, with inverted commas, as to what a better man actually is. Looking there at celebrities who are being open and honest about the challenges that they've felt. And Dwayne Johnson is one of my heroes, one of the guys that I've loved as a wrestler because he was just so over the top. But even more so when you look at him as a father and as a role model and as an inspirational person, and there's great fun in all the movies as well. But he had a bout of depression, loneliness, and anxiety that famously almost took him to the edge and over it. And next up, let's see a video about what his thoughts are. And then we're going to take a deep dive into how you can feel better about yourself. Hope you're enjoying this show. It's different. I'm not being funny today, deliberately not being funny, because it's not a particularly funny subject, but it is important. So if we're going to celebrate World Men's Day, then let's ultimately understand what a new man really is all about. It's Speak on Stage.
I found that with depression, one of the most important things you could realize is that you're not alone. You're not the first to go through it. You're not going to be the last to go through it. And oftentimes it happens. You feel like you're alone, and you feel like it's only you, and you're in your bubble. And I wish I had someone at that time who could just pull me aside and, hey, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. So I wish I knew that. Just got to remember. Hold on to that fundamental quality of faith. Have faith that on the other side of your pain is something good. After about a month and a half of staying in that little apartment and cleaning, I got a phone call from the head coach of the team who cut me, the head coach of the Calgary Stampeders. He called me and he said, hey, I know we cut you, but I'd like you to come back. I said, okay, I appreciate that, coach. Thank you very much. I'll think about it. And he said, okay, great. I hung up the phone, and my dad said, you're gonna do it, right? I said, no, I don't think so. I think I'm done with that. And he goes, what? I said, my gut tells me I'm done. He said, what are you gonna do? I took a deep breath. I said, I'd like to get into the business. He said, what business? I said, the wrestling business. He said, you are throwing it all away. It is the worst mistake you will ever make. He said, you're ruining your career. I said, maybe I'll be no good. But I feel like in my heart I have to do this. And I either need you to train me or need you to not train me. My dad rose to the occasion. He said, I'll train you. And it wound up being one of the greatest chapters in my life.
Hi, YouTubers. I'm excited to give you an update about our own YouTube channel. Now
So there's a Rock talking about the honesty about when he turned away from his football career and went into wrestling, and the rest is legend, but it doesn't feel like legend at the time. It's taken me many, many years to basically find a way to broadcast after I went off radio. I stopped being on radio maybe, 12, 13, 14 years ago. I was in Dubai. I was doing very well, recognized by everybody, getting loads of freebies, getting into nightclubs, restaurants for free, didn't pay for anything, knocking about with all the big stars. And I turned around and just said, this is bullshit. I don't want to do it anymore. And people went, you're crazy. Why would you do that? Why would you walk away from that? I just said, I don't get enough from life doing this. So I stopped. And doing a show like this, for me, really works. It's therapeutic, but also I get to help people. And not everybody wants it, and that's fine as well. But I also know that there'll be people watching today's show who will get something out of it, even if it's just a snippet that gets them better through their day. And I hope it appeals to men as well as it should appeal to women, at least to have a better understanding about the dilemma that's going on in your man's head. Even if he doesn't understand it, and I can guarantee that none of us understand it at all. A very dear friend of mine is an expert on menopause, and she works with women who are going through menopause, and she's got these incredibly smart, high-achieving women from industry who have no idea why they're going through such a tough time. And nobody can understand them. They're hot, they're cold, they're angry, they're sad, they're vindictive, they've got loads of real pressures, and they hate themselves, but they don't know that it's hormonal. Well, they do, but they don't understand what's going on. This is for men. We don't know what's going on, but it doesn't mean that you are wrong. It just means that we have to find a better way of coping with it. And sometimes the best way to cope with it is to understand that there is a challenge there and be able to diagnose the symptoms. All right, let's look now. Some things to remember when you don't feel you are good enough, and we all go through this. So you don't have to feel that you're not good enough at any given point. We should feel it, it's natural, but you should be able to snap out of it and be better in your own skin. This is from tinybuddha.com. Right, first thing is, the people you compare yourself to, compare themselves to other people. So when you say, oh, you know, I wish I was like them, that other person's going, I wish I was like them, and them, and them. Forget it, they're already taken, be yourself. Don't compare yourself to anybody else, because you don't know what they've had to do to get that. I had a kid in my school when I was growing up many years ago in Scotland, and this kid had tons of money, all the latest gear, latest shoes, latest toys at Christmas. It was almost like the toy shop had just said, go crazy, have anything you want. Why? Because his dad was working on the rigs in Bahrain, working in the oil industry, making good money, great money, but never there. My dad was all the time at home. I got to see him all the time. He had a good job. We never wanted for anything. We didn't get what this kid had, but he didn't get his dad. So there's always a balance. Does that make sense? Okay. Number 2, your mind can be a very convincing liar to you. It can tell you lots of different things that you may believe and you may not believe, but that's fine. But what you should do is always question your mind. Ask it, who says this is true? Why should it be like that? And sometimes the voices that you hear that put you down, that sounds like your self-dialogue, is not your dialogue. It's something that was put into you by a parent or an uncle or aunt or a teacher or a well-meaning adult that wanted you to feel better at the time because they didn't want you to do more damage or risk damage, but you really need to be able to cope with stuff better. Don't pick up that glass. You pick up that glass, you'll smash it. You'll hurt yourself. So you never pick the glass up. Spend the rest of your life wondering about, oh, I won't talk to that girl. I might ruin that relationship. I won't go for that job. They're going to think I'm stupid. I won't go out and do something with my life because people are going to criticize me. I better stay where I am. See how it has an effect. Number 3, there's more right with you than wrong with you. You are great in your own skin, and the best person to be you is you. You might not know that. You might think of somebody else who's doing it, but this is true. I remember years ago when I was brought in to run the Dubai Rugby Sevens, I was brought in under circumstances where I was the DJ at the time at the event, and my dear friend, who was the events manager, they let him go, and they said, will you take over and run it? I said, well, you know, that's the guy. He brought me in. I feel really terrible taking his position. They said, if you don't do it, somebody else will do it. And if they do it, we'll give it to a radio station, and all your team will go. So I said, no, I'll take it. So I was driving in the car. I had a red Jeep at the time, Jeep Wrangler. I was driving to the event, and I was thinking, oh, goodness me, I'm going to be found out. They're going to find out I'm a fraud. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm going to look really stupid. Then we're going to turn around and say, ha, you don't know what you're doing. So I thought, okay, ask yourself a better question, Dave. If you were to choose somebody to do the job that you've been asked to do, who would you choose? And I thought, well, they've got to know entertainment, they've got to know music, they've got to know the sport of rugby sevens, they've got to know the event and how it works, they've got to get on with all the organisers, they've got to be able to know how it all lines up for all the different decision makers and the referees and the timekeeping and the adverts and the TV guys, and they've got to be ready to think at a moment's notice and come up with an idea. I'd probably get Dave Crane. I mean, it occurred to me that I was the best person to deal with that problem. And I was going to mess it up, but I'd make it right and I'd be able to work it out. But I was chosen because they could see I was the right person for the job. You are the best person to be you. Nobody else knows you like you or your situation like you. Does it mean you should get advice? Yeah, maybe. But it doesn't mean that anybody else can do what you do as well as you. So have some faith. Number 4, you need love the most and when you feel you deserve it the least. You need love the most when you feel you deserve it the least. So basically, you have to think of yourself better and be very, very careful not to beat yourself up about things either, because you are exactly who you need to be. And sometimes the spin that you put on yourself isn't helpful. It's toxic masculinity. It's the first time I mentioned that in today's show, but that's at the bottom line for a lot of this stuff. Number 5, you have to fully accept and make peace with the now before you can reach and feel satisfied with the later. Yeah, keep putting stuff away. I'll do it later. I won't fix myself now. I do it all the time. I fix myself now all the time on a daily basis. I say, you're crap at that, you're crap at that, you're crap at that, but let's just laugh at it and let's get better. There's a ton of things I have to fix. One, for instance, is this dilemma. Do I go out on my bike and lose my tummy, which I've put on from eating too many cakes and biscuits during lockdown? Or do I do this show on a regular basis? What's better for me? What's better for the family? And a better balance would be right. So some days when I disappear and I don't do a show, it's because I'm busy doing something else to get me better in other things. It's a balance. Life is only giving you 24 hours a day, so do the best that you can with it. All right, number 6. Focus on progress rather than perfection, and how far you'll come rather than how far you've left to go. Well, yeah, I mean, your life is all about a journey. It's an adventure, and you can never understand. It's not about getting there. When you're an Olympic gold athlete, it's not about winning a gold. You could have been a gold athlete by getting a silver. You could have got the gold if circumstances come together, and you can go back and get it next year and the year after and the year after, because it's a process. That's exciting. Your life is exciting because of the process of what you're going through right now. So have faith and enjoy the ride, and don't worry about what's coming next, because when you get there, it's going to look exactly like it does right now, but then you'll have to come up with a new goal. That's the adventure. Keep going. Because the thing is, if you retire, you don't live very long. If you keep going, keep pushing yourself and keep challenging yourself, then you'll live as long as you need to get tasks done. It's true. Look at people who retire and how long they live. It's just a fact. Number 7, you can't hate your way into loving yourself. It's been nice to be kinder to yourself. Say good things. Have affirmations. Take a break and love yourself. Literally, if you need to. Do things that make you feel really happy. Because I know so many people who say, I don't deserve better than this. And they're wrong. Not just because it's just a ridiculous way to live your life, but you only get one go at this. Why do you want to spend your entire life feeling terrible about who you are and what life spun a load of dice and said, that's who you are? You can regrow, you can change, you can alter on a daily basis if you truly want to. That's why some of the most positive people I know are cancer survivors, because they've had to say, you know what, maybe that's it. Maybe I get nothing else. But if I don't get anything else, I make the best of what I have right now. And that's why I urge for you to think. Today's show is all about how to be a better man. I'm sure there's lessons in there that the females watching will appreciate as well. And I hope that you're getting something out of this. Love your comments, love your thoughts. Please share them. Speak on stage. So with that, I want to return to our sheet, which was here. I went on about how to hold yourself accountable and all the different things for the outer game. Now I want to look at this, the inner game. The difference between Batman and Superman. Superman is the glowing hero and saves the world. Batman's the deep thinker, the one who plans every eventuality. And at the end of the day, he has no superpowers. He's got gadgets, but he's just a man. Here in this section, I want to look at your inner game. And that's completely different from what I shared before about to be a real man. And you may have disagreed with the stuff I said about being a real man. It wasn't intended to upset anybody or to hold you accountable. It's just an experience of what the world is seeing. But this is key. This is all about what you really need to be doing to make sure that you are the best that you can be. So in order to be that guy, reach out. Chat to friends. Let them know that you're having a hard time. It's amazing how many people are going through it as well, and they'd like to be honest and open up with you. Tell them that you do feel broken. There's nothing wrong with it. Right now, the coronavirus is biting everybody. Men, women, children, animals. It's a tough time. We've never been through this before, and there's no precedent on how we get through it. Do whatever it takes to get you through, but there are lots of people going through it with you, and you can get help from them, and they can help you too. Okay, number 2. Be listened to. Have a chat and get off your chest. Get it off your chest. As I said, reach out, talk to friends, but also having a chat with other people means that you can start thinking about the things that you can do for them. Often therapy is a two-way learning process, like going to the gym with somebody else, so you can spot them. So you can lift and they can lift for you, and you can hold the weights while they're getting themselves adjusted, and so on. So don't be scared to do that. Okay, number 3, for social media. Get onto social media heroes, people that can help you because they say lots of positive things. Subscribe to this show. I'm serious. This show is always about helping you feel positive. The subject matter might not always be what you're looking for, but you saw there Dwayne Johnson, Ryan Reynolds. There's a ton of people, John Legend, who are incredible. Will Smith. When you follow their social media, all they do is tell you about what you need to be doing to be happier. They don't go on about their welfare, their money, they inspire you. There's lots of people who do go on about how rich they are and how wonderful they are, and that's cool if you want to. They can influence you all you want. But there's a number of inspirational people out there. Follow and subscribe to what they're doing, and it does help as a template. All right, number 4, have a chat with somebody who will listen and not fix you. This is key. If you want a therapist, get a therapist. There's lots of them, but there's also people like friends and colleagues or families, or even finding a helpline, depending which country you're in. I'm in the UAE, I don't know which helpline, but I'd Google it. Somebody somewhere will be there to listen to me as a volunteer, as a paid service, to be able to say, Dave, this is what you need to do. I've already established life coaches. You should be there for people. And I think that you will make a financial gain in the next 12 months because you can position yourself really well as an expert helping people with your medical services, with doctors, with hospitals. Position yourself so anybody needs extra help with their loneliness and depression, anxiety and challenges, you can be there using your skills as a life coach to help them to move forward. I think it's going to be very symbiotic if you do that heavy lifting. All right, as I mentioned, number 5 here, ask a mate how they're doing, and doing something for a friend can make you feel better as well. This is very true. If you're helping others, then that relationship gets better, and they most of the time turn around and thank you for it. Sometimes they have a problem coping with it and admitting there is an issue, but that's part of the process. Just like a drug addict, we get addicted to these toxic masculinity positions where we just go, no, I'm fine, and I can deal with it, and it burns inside. So sometimes it's worth letting it all out. Number 6, keep up with your routine or add new structure to your day. That routine could be going to the gym, that routine could be anything. Could be watching Netflix, doesn't matter, but do the stuff that helps you and add to it, because being occupied sometimes helps as well. It's those moments where you sit and think that they can catch up with you. If you know you've got no choice but to have a period of time until things get fixed, stay busy during that time. Be engaged, do stuff that you really love, because that will really help as well. All right, number 7, motivational books, motivational quotes, get things in perspective. When I went through my biggest changes in life, all I did was start reaching out and reading Jack Canfield and Brian Tracy and Tony Robbins. I could get my hands on tons of motivational books. Malcolm Gladwell, there's loads, Seth Godin, whatever particular area you're interested in, there's so many inspirational people. Earl Nightingale taking you back to Napoleon Hill. There's so many really wonderful instruments. And also, if you're interested in it, why not check out Blinkist or Blinkist? It's audios that are big famous books, but 15-minute sections of them where they're done as audios or they're done as cheat sheets. So you can actually go through and go, oh, okay, that's that book done. That's that book done. It's very cost effective and it's very good, especially in business. All right, number 8. Get out of your comfort zone. Comfort zones are painful. They're not painful, they're really good for you, but they're really bad for you, because it means if something comes along that you're not ready to deal with and you're inside your comfort zone, there's no way you can get out of it and fix it properly. So be prepared to get out as much as you can. I know I'm talking a lot on today's show, and I appreciate you being with me. So let's get through this. Number 9, stop and pause. Take you time. Mindfulness, writing, meditation. I'm now doing a 45-minute breathing course every morning with meditation built in. That's from the Art of Living. I will do a show especially on that, and I will be doing interviews on that in the future, as well as a lot of different things. Number 10, focus on your breathing. Breathe in and out slowly for 3 minutes, and it will calm you down. When I started learning about emotional intelligence, I learned it under the 6 seconds course. The idea is, if you are really angry, but you can count 6 seconds, you'll calm down enough in 6 seconds to be able to then make a proper decision and not make the decision you'd normally make when you're angry. So this is something different. This is doing a breathing and calming down your breathing for 3 minutes to stop your hyperventilating and pressing a reset button on you. Number 11, chill, switch off, do something differently. Get your book, get your Kindle. This is my Kindle here. I don't know if I've ever shown you this before, I probably have. Ooh, somebody's calling me. South Korea again. Who could have imagined? What do they want from me in South Korea? Probably to try and sell me something. But this is my Kindle. I carry it with me all the time. It's probably upside down now, is it? Yeah, it's upside down. And at the moment in here, I don't know if you can see it, But I've got a book with, it's actually Seth Godin, reading a really good book on there. All the time I make sure that I've got something to distract me that's positive, and sometimes I'm not in the mood for it, so I don't do that. I'll do something else instead. But I always have distractions because it can be very useful for you. And no, I don't want to talk to South Korea at this moment in time. Maybe later on I'll call them back. And find out. All right, number 12 is this one. We'll go through them rapidly now. Get outside, take a short walk. Distract, energy and exercise is always good. Make a motivational playlist of things that you want to do and work your way down them. Number 14, do something new like volunteering. Why not? Put yourself in a position where you can help other people. It makes you feel better as well. And finally, take up a new hobby. These are not in any particular order, but they're all about your inner game. These are ways to allow yourself to feel better about yourself while not cheating, but cheating the system. This is all about ultimately becoming a stronger version of you. And that's what today's show is truly all about. Hope it's been useful for you. Next up, let's see how you can start to dominate on top of this and be seen as the very best in your industry. Right, I try and keep the show to about an hour or so. I think that's fair enough for a couple of cups of coffee and a chat and a few biscuits, and your comments are always appreciated. It's all about the industry icon. My website is SpeakOnstage. If you go to SpeakOnstage, then you'll find this good-looking fella. Hello, Dad. It's not really Dad, it's me. And I can go like that and maybe pick his nose a bit if I want. So if you go to that website, you can do a survey for free on how well positioned your brand is. Just above me here, you can see where it says Industry Icon button. You press on that, and once you've clicked it, you'll be taken to this page here. When you go to this page here, you'll be able to press this button here, take the survey. You have to scroll down the page first, take the survey. Once you've got the survey, work your way through it, answer all the questions, give yourself a score out of the 4 different questions, and then you'll understand how well positioned you are to say, look at me, I'm a great brand, or maybe I have to improve it, or maybe I have to do different things. I can help you with that. The Industry Icon program is deliberately put together to position you to be very successful in what you particularly need to do. So if you want to start your own blog, start your own podcast, if you want to do your own TV show, if you want to do your have better social media posts, if you want to get your brand so it's more effective, and actually I'm just launching a new program now specifically for women called the Maya Mentorship Program. So for women specifically, I'll be sharing more about that in future episodes. But the Industry Icon program is built to get you to where you need to be so you can market your business by being your business, by being perceived to be the best in your business. Same as Richard Branson is, and Steve Jobs was, and many other industry icons. People say, oh yeah, that's who they represent. That's why I like that product, because of them. You can do that for your business, which means that when you post and you talk and you create content, people see you as your business. It's free marketing, and you live it and you breathe it, okay? And with that, I share with people the roadmap. Once you've gone through another survey, the roadmap is there. Here's just a quick check of the key disciplines in business that you wanted to do. I won't spend too long on this because I'm not giving it away for free. There you go. Have a look at that. Take a quick screenshot, and it's gone, and you've missed it. And I know you wanted to take more notice of it, but it's, just the way it goes. So today's show touched on toxic masculinity. He said try and put his teeth back in. And I hope that you got a lot out of the idea that maybe to be a better man, we need to just be better human beings and be happier in our own skin. There's no definitive way that you should be. Every person's different, and you're on your own journey, and lockdown has really made us hold a mirror in front of ourselves to be able to decide what's going to happen. Maybe we should just take it on a daily basis. Maybe we shouldn't work as hard as we were working before, and we just, some days just, give yourself fun during the ride. Because it is going to change, and it is going to be difficult, but you can do it. And I feel for everybody. Here's the one lesson I would say. Guys, because today's show is about guys, stop being so tough on yourself. There's never been a time like this. Your parents, your friends are all going through something or have all been through something, but today is challenging. Get to tomorrow, get to the next day, and the day after that, and that's all you have to do. Whatever it takes. We're not going to be in lockdown forever. We're not going to be in a recession forever, but you can get through this, and when you do, it'll all be worth it. Okay, that's it from me. I hope it really justified how to be a better man. I really loved having you with me. Will be future episodes on different subjects. I will be talking about women, but I'll be bringing some guests on to do that. I don't profess to be the best on that particular subject, but I do know how to make people's personal brands sing and how to position them as an industry icon. I look forward to sharing more bits with you in the future. Going to leave you with one of my favourite videos, your redefinition about reinventing yourself. Meanwhile, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon, again here on Speak on Stage. I want to ask you a question. What defines you? What if you lost your money, you lost your job, you lost your house, you lost your shoes, you lost your friends, you lost the ability to turn around and say to people, this is what I want from my life? What if you had no rights? What if you had no clothes? What if you had nowhere to live? What if your passport went and you lost your ability to take a plane to anywhere in the world? What if a bank didn't recognize you? What if nobody recognized you? What if you lost your health? And on top of that, you lost your will. What would you be after all those things? The truth is, you would still be you. Your phone, your gadgets, the people around you, they're what define you right now, but that's not who you truly are. The person you truly are is whoever you decide that you're going to be. And you can decide that person every single day. Every day you have a choice. You can stay where you are. You can look at the past. You can look at all the trophies on the shelf and the photos and the selfies of the places that you've been and the people you've met. And you can say, that is me. Or you can say, that was me yesterday. The one that comes today and the one that comes tomorrow. Could be anybody. And the adventure is, I'm going to define them right now. And that's why you create a roadmap and you define yourself every single day.